Almost $500,000 has been siphoned from the accounts of disabled Australians by an alleged fraudster targeting the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Mohammed Omar is accused of issuing false invoices and spending the cash on cars and luxury fashion. Mark Santomartino explains.
Behind sunglasses and a Melbourne Demons hat, Mohammed Omar can't hide from cameras outside the magistrate's court.
How do you respond? You're accused of the lowest of the low.
The 36-year-old granted bail after allegedly fleecing almost $500,000 from Australia's most vulnerable.
These are disabled people, sir.
Mr. Omar, will you be fighting these allegations?
Taking refuge in a cafe with his lawyer saved Mr. Omar from questions, but doesn't change the fact that he's charged with defrauding more than 200 people on the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Between June 18 and July 23rd, Mr. Omar is accused of siphoning more than $483,000 from NDIS accounts, issuing fraudulent payment requests under the company name Langman Care. By August 18, he had allegedly tried and failed to receive a further $142,000 using the same method. Federal police and the NDIS task force raiding his Parkville home on Tuesday, seizing Rolex watches, a BMW 7 Series and Toyota Kluger.
We will be alleging that those items were purchased with the proceeds of crime.
The NDIS has confirmed it will reinstate any of the allegedly stolen money from those 200 accounts, with each of those alleged victims expected to give statements as witnesses over the next 9 weeks. Anyone else affected is urged to call the NDIS fraud hotline.
We're here and we're watching, and we'll use the full extent of the law to come after you.
Mark Santomartino, 9 News.
A Melbourne man is accused of swindling almost $500,000 from disabled Australians. He's the first person to be charged after a fraud task force was set up to catch thieves ripping off the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Mohammed Osman Omar is accused of targeting hundreds of vulnerable disabled Australians, stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 36-year-old was arrested during a federal police raid on Tuesday after a 4-month investigation by the National Disability Insurance Scheme Fraud Task Force. Federal police seized a 7 Series BMW, a Toyota Hilux, plus designer clothes and watches, all believed to have been bought with stolen money. Another 7 Series BMW remained at Omar's Parkville home today, bearing his family name. Are you guilty of these charges?
Excuse me, don't push.
The National Disability Insurance Scheme supports people with disabilities, plus their families and carers, about 460,000 Australians. Omar is accused of defrauding the scheme of more than $483,000 within just 5 weeks in June and July, and applying for another $142,000 through a company.
It's appalling, absolutely and completely despicable. It's almost the same as if they stole a wheelchair from somebody's house.
The Melbourne Magistrates Court was told detectives will gather about 200 witness statements, examine 500 banking transactions, execute more warrants and analyse computers for evidence.
Have you made admissions to the police?
It hasn't yet been revealed how Omar allegedly managed to siphon more than $400,000 from the scheme, but around 200 recipients were victims and all have now been reimbursed. Omar returns to court in January. Paul Dowsley, 7 News.